Fabrizio, how do Barcelona sort of correct this situation? I mean, domestically, they're doing very well. They're obviously challenged and sitting top of La Liga right now. We're seeing a lot of rumors with Lionel Messi and the fathers meeting. So what's the latest on the Barcelona transfer front?
Yes, at the moment with Messi, from what I understand, is still the same. Of course, we have many rumors because Jorge Messi was there in Barcelona, and it's important to remind that they still have their house in Barcelona. So when they can, they travel to Barcelona. They still love the city, and we know how special is the relationship between Messi and Barcelona. But at the moment, as Jorge Messi mentioned a few days ago, there is still no bid from Barca. And yesterday, Xavi, after the game, also mentioned the financial fair play. This is going to be very important to understand how much Barcelona can spend in the summer. It's on salaries, like in the case of Leo Messi, in case he will be a free agent, but he's still negotiating with PSG over a new contract. So let's keep an eye on that one. But in general, for Barcelona, the financial fair play is going to be really important to understand how much they will be able to invest on the market. I think they will go in the summer for a new midfielder. This is the expectation for sure. I expect them to go also for a new fullback and centre-back. Probably these two positions are crucial for Barcelona, and maybe for a backup option in attacking position, because of course there is Lewandowski, who is doing great, but they sold Memphis Depay to Atletico Madrid, and they probably need a player in that position. They appreciate the Brazilian top talent from Atletico Paranaense, Vitor Roque, who had a fantastic under-20 competition a few weeks ago. He's a player they really love, but again, it's about the financial fair play, because it's not easy to spend maybe 50, 60 million euros on a young boy in a difficult financial situation. So in the next few months, we will understand how much Barca will invest, but for sure they will be ready to sign new players in the summer.
Can I just dive in there? Vitor Roque is a top talent, and I know for a fact as well that a lot of Premier League clubs, including Arsenal, are tracking him, and that maybe is going to be the challenge, isn't it, for Barcelona, Fab? That they want all these players, but the money they have at the moment, and it's going to be even tighter as their income is squeezed a bit. So,
yes,
I mean, is it realistic to think that they can do another summer like last one and overhaul the squad pretty much?
I think it's not that realistic. I agree with you. Also, on Vitor Roque, it's not easy to have the competition from these clubs, because as you mentioned, Arsenal are following him, and many other clubs around Europe, they know how special is this boy. Also, for example, Barcelona wanted Endrick, but they were not able to compete with Real Madrid or Paris Saint-Germain or Chelsea in that race. So it's not easy for them now to move on the market. It's not easy to plan for the summer transfer window because of the financial situation, but I'm sure that maybe in the summer, changing a bit the situation and having that clear, they will try to do something. I can say that would be the same as last summer, where they signed many players and it was a big investment by Barcelona, but I'm sure that they want to do something and they will do something.
Yeah, it's a really great point as well, James, because, when you have success on the pitch, it always takes that pressure off you with the signing and the transfer. So, I mean, that tells you how gigantic that result was over 2 games against Manchester United, getting knocked out for Barcelona. And also, what happens now? How much pressure is on for them to spend more money? Do you make mistakes when you're spending money? Do you get desperate? If you have domestic success for La Liga, you'd have to say it's not a bad job and not a bad return for Barcelona with the squad of players that they have. Could they be doing more? Absolutely. You should be doing more.
Sorry, I know we're here to ask Fab questions. I don't want to railroad this, but what would Barcelona have put together in other circumstances where Barcelona just go, we're not going to spend any money, we're not going to sell anything off, we'll trust La Masia and the players we already have here, and we won't add to the wage bill. We'll do that. What would Barcelona have been? Second, third in La Liga? Is it worth blowing up your entire future to win a title? You would develop the team that was worthy of winning anyway, because you've got Pedri, you've got Gavi. I think it was an absolutely stupid approach that they took, and this virtuous cycle is very much grinding to a halt.
Well, I guess in many ways, Fabrizio, you can touch upon this one. It also leans into the fact why there's so much pressure on the Super League, right? When you see teams like Barcelona needing more finances to come into the football club to basically compete with the best teams and the biggest teams in the world, I guess there's more pressure for a club like Barcelona to say, hey, let's introduce a new league where we can get more money coming in. Is that right, Fab?
Yes, I think this is for sure. They need fresh money. They need new money, and this is the situation. I think it's what you mentioned is pretty clear. This is the reality. This is 100% spot on. Also, it's important to remind that, for example, I think in general in football, for Barcelona in this case, but in general in football, also extending contracts of important player is not that easy now. It's not that easy because, for example, Barcelona were fighting with La Liga to register players like Araujo, Gavi, after they agreed on new contracts. The process is becoming really complicated because of the financial situation. So it's really, really difficult. Of course, as James mentioned, last summer they decided to invest crazy money in some moments. It was really complicated for them to manage everything, and they also wanted Bernardo Silva, for example, in the final weeks of the window. So imagine how many things they wanted to do. I think this summer will be a bit different, but the plan is to try to find some money and to invest again and again to give Xavi what he needs. So let's see, but for sure for Barcelona, the financial situation is the key point to understand what's going to happen in the summer.
A big good morning to Vic out there. He says, Indika, Tielemans, Gundogan, Thuram, all on free transfers. You're welcome, Barcelona. Nice shout out there to Vic. Good morning to everybody out there. Thank you so much for jumping in the comments. I see you, Aaron. I see you there, mate. I see you, Omar. Thank you, everybody, for jumping in. Matt, good morning to you as well. Let's turn our attention to Josko Gvardiol. Got the important goal against Manchester City, claiming, obviously, in the media, which was interesting comments from him, that it wouldn't be a bad idea for him to move on in his career and potentially follow Christopher Nkunku. I guess my question to you would be, is that even realistic for someone like Gvardiol, for him to move? Because I know Leipzig are desperate to keep a hold of this guy.
Yes, and Marco Rose after the game was very clear. He said he will stay here. I'm asking for this. He wants the player to stay. I think it's not going to be easy, honestly. I'm sure Leipzig will fight to keep the player. They will fight to maybe find a solution together with the player, but they already extended his contract after last summer. Last summer, it was almost done deal with Chelsea. Yeah? It was more than advanced. It was almost done to sign the player in summer, at the end of summer 22, and then for Josko Gvardiol to join in June 2023. So the deal was almost completed, and then Leipzig were able to reach an agreement with the player to extend his contract and keep Josko Gvardiol at the club. Now, what I expect in any case, I don't know if it will happen this summer or next summer, but I expect Josko Gvardiol to be the most expensive centre-back ever, because Leipzig are not selling the player for 75, 80 million. So I'm sure they want around 90, 100 million euros for Josko Gvardiol. So it will be an historical transfer. And it's also important to mention that when big clubs from Premier League start to move, it's not easy to keep the players, because Chelsea are still following the situation and they have very good relationship with people close to the player. Man City are following the situation, and he's always been a player appreciated by Man City. He was already in the list in July last summer, but they decided to extend the contract of Nathan Ake, but he was close to joining Chelsea. So it was a domino of centre-backs, and it didn't happen, but he remains a player appreciated by Man City. I will keep an eye in general on Liverpool. I think they need something fresh in that position. And so Josko Gvardiol is a Liverpool fan, as he stated a few weeks ago in an interview. And I will keep an eye in general on Liverpool on centre-backs, and let's see if it will be Josko Gvardiol or any other player. But I think it will be an important summer for him. So Leipzig will fight to keep him, but it's not going to be easy.
Union Berlin against Union Saint-Gilloise is the first team that's just been pulled out of the hat right there.
I think it was that pronunciation.
Oh, whatever.
Gilloise, isn't it?
Gilloise. It sounds like a racing car driver. But the second game pulled out of the hat was Fenerbahce against Seville, and Juventus Fabrizio, have just been pulled out of the hat. Let's turn our attention real quickly to obviously what else is happening around the transfer window. We'll talk about Leipzig right now, because I did see Jonathan David's name mentioned with potentially coming to Leipzig. It's not just about players going out. They also want to sign players too.
Of course, they want to continue with their idea, with their project. We know how big is the Red Bull project in general with Leipzig, with Salzburg, and so this is the idea. Jonathan David is a big target for Leipzig. They had contacts on player side. They are also well informed on the price tag, and this is the big problem. I think it's going to be really difficult for Leipzig to sign Jonathan David, because at the moment Lille want around 50, 60 million euros for him, and that would be really a big fee. So I think it's not going to be easy for Leipzig to sign the player. They had some meeting, they had some conversation. They want a player, but they know that it's not easy at all. Also because there are many clubs interested in strikers around Europe in general, in Spain, in Germany with Bayern, in Italy, probably Inter, Milan need to do something on attacking positions. And of course, in England with many clubs involved, especially Man United, but many clubs involved in the strikers race. And so for Jonathan David, I think it will be a big opportunity to move. Leipzig want him, but there are many clubs, and so not easy at all.